Hey, it's E with reality, and we are back with the second part of Love Island USA, episode 26, Movie Night. So we open back up with them opening up door number two. So this appears to be a Corbin door, and of course, it shows all the clips of Corbin talking about TT and Armida being more like college girls, the other girls being like high school girls. It shows when Parmita and Corbin were kissing, and I was a little confused by her reaction and all the extraness she was giving on the couch. I was like, girl, I don't know. Parmita just be like, I just feel like she is a little bit of like she really don't have quite a formed of a brain cell because she contradicts herself a lot. I, I feel like she thinks because she's a pretty woman that that makes her know everything. I'm not sure, but the reaction on the couch, it was just given over the top too much. I'm like, girl, you've been here a hot second, so it can't be too much in the video about you. Um, it does show where one of the Casa girls asked her, about Kinsey because of course we know Kinsey was coupled up with Corbin when he went over to Casa, and she made a statement that she wasn't scared of Kinsey and so on and so forth. And so once the clip was over, Kinsey was they kind of had like a little back and forth about Kinsey was like, um, why would you be scared of me? And she's like, I didn't say I would be scared of you. And she was like, she's like, well, I don't think that was really rude. So Kinsey was like, whatever. Um, Corbin, again, he tries to apologize. He doesn't really want to hear his apology. I will have to say, even though Corbin makes my head hurt too, he's funny to me because he just don't give a shit. Corbin don't care. Corbin said, she was like, well, why would you say, I guess, like, you don't have to put somebody else down to lift up your connection or whatever. And she was just like, well, why would you say the things that you said? And he was like, that's just how I felt. I said, oh gosh. I said, Corbin is, I mean, and he don't necessarily be trying to be funny. He just being himself. And then Corbin just basically like he don't care. He ain't pulling these girls for no more chats. He just don't give a fuck. Basically, he don't give no shit. So I was like, I mean, you know. So then we get to door number 7, which is Kenzie's door. I'm like, about time. So they go through all the clips of her being the female version of Sincere, because that's what she is. Only thing that I was mad that they didn't show was when she actually told Corbin not to tell, like them to keep the kiss. Like they showed her telling Jen, but I feel like it would have been better had they showed her saying in the moment. And then I wish she would have showed the conversation between her and Jen. Um, Either when they were sitting at the bar when she was pissed off that he hadn't kissed her. Like they should have showed that clip first and then the clip of them kissing in the bedroom, or even showed the clip of her in Jen upstairs. I wish they would have showed either one of those. Of course, again, everybody's just kind of like, okay, so you out here basically moving the same way since you're moving. So Caleb, he I'm like, he's so sweet. He doesn't raise his voice at her. She's trying to explain away, looking like she's about to fall into a million pieces because she don't know what to say because she's just been out here living her best life in the villa. Yeah, she been out here kissing for handshakes, kissing, acting like however she said it basically. Kisses are like handshakes. I don't know. I just don't, walk up to like random people and, just shake their hand. Because typically, when you introduce yourself to somebody, someone introduce you may shake their hand. I don't think we kiss. I don't think that's how that works. But I don't know. In Kenzie's mind, that's what that is. Um, so she does apologize. He lets her know that, basically he doesn't feel like she was honest with him, transparent with him, and she apologizes to him because she could have done a better job of letting him know where she was standing. Basically, Dylan speaks up and says basically he just watched the same thing happen. It was like watching the same thing all over, watching the same thing happen all over again because she just did the same thing with himself and Gaul, knowing she don't like Gaul, you know. And she really, and I'm not even sure, even when I think back to the Corbin and her, I don't even necessarily think she liked Corbin. I think she just had more of a physical attraction to him. And because they was in the bed doing stuff, it just made her lean towards him. I think she liked, but I don't know. Caleb is really nice. He's young. I don't know. So I can still kind of see like she probably needs, and not to say he's not like a manly man, but you can still see that he has a little bit of growing to do. He's just super sweet, and which is perfectly fine because we should all want a super sweet man. But you can tell that he probably just has a little bit more of maturing to do. But he definitely appears to be like a really good guy. Um, and you know how sometimes women are, they just get wrapped up in what they don't need opposed to what they do need, you know, Melanie and Sincere. But again, I don't think anyone has actually came in there for her to not. Because again, I've seen a couple clips of Corey outside of the villa, and he's a nice looking man. And I think they would make a cute couple. But I don't know. It's the verdict is still out on him. But um Kenzie apologizes, to Dylan and Gall. I just don't even understand how Gall, like the gall of it, like why is he here? Why did Jen bring him here? I'm like, Jen, out of all them other 11 men, the only one you could find that you liked was Gall. That's it. Because to me, they don't even look like they go together. But whatever, because all couples don't look like they go together, but whatever. Um, then it was like when Kenzie was apologizing, it was the girls feeding her lines to like help her out. I said, well, dang, Kenzie, you can't even just speak your own. You can't speak your own truth. You can't if you can't get your own apology out without the girls having to help you. I don't know. Whatever. Well, we have another door. And I forget what number it was, but it was another Sincere door. But this one opens with Melanie and Corey having their little breakfast picnic and them showing like she was like, I want to kiss you, and them having a kiss. And of course, it goes from that one scene over to Sincere. And of course, now we have all the things of Sincere doing over there, the many of times that they were kissing, him telling Amora that he likes her, and I mean, just so on and so on. Again, many, many kisses. Her getting on top of him while they were in that little circle room thing, and them kissing. And then we put that little cherry on top with the recoupling, where he says that had we had more time, it would have been you. Basically, I would have picked you. And her face just kind of like, it's just like sincere. Again, even though we already watched all these clips, it still looks so much worse when you have all the clips just right there together. And you don't have a break in between his lies and the way that he's moving. They're just on top of on top, on top, on top. It's like it's just kind of mind blowing. Like, so of course Melanie is pissed, and he's once again trying to apologize, and um Amora speaks up first, and she's just like, I forget what she said. She, I can't remember. I don't know if that's when she was saying like she didn't really know she didn't really know the extent of their um relationship. She just knew that he kept saying that he had a connection um back at the villa. But again, I'm not sure exactly what it is that they see. I know that Casa people, I know Bombshells and Casa people see parts of the show before they come in. They do not, I don't think they see everything like we do, so I don't know how much she saw. But I do know she saw at least some of him exploring Soul. Um, because she mentioned in like the After Sun about something like that. So, um, but it still seemed like she was open to exploring with him, even though you already knew he was like ain't shit. But, whatever. So Melanie's like basically like, so you said, oh, that's what she said when she said, it was good to see that you explored your connection. And like Melanie said, like that was the only kiss I had. And I'll definitely want to run around here telling people um that they would have been picked if I had more time. And so Sincere tries to speak up, and of course Melanie loses it, which she has every right, because he would have been every name in the book but a child of God. And, you know, but you have everyone around her being like, he cares about you. But I also think, again, I also think that people were like, after that first one and then to see the second one, it's just kind of like, well, damn, Sincere, you out here moving shady, shady. Melanie said, "You said you would have picked her. Why you ain't pick her? Why you ain't pick her? You said you would pick her. Why you ain't pick her? Look, she here right now. That's probably why America brought her back. That's probably what Melanie was thinking in her head. That's why they put her here, cause for you to pick her, for you to pick her." And he says, no, no, no offense to you, Amora, like, you know, you're a wonderful, wonderful woman, basically. And then he goes on to talk about how he's growing and learning about himself. And like Amora says, like, but unfortunately, you learn about yourself is it at the expense of other people. And I'm like, right, like, come on now, sincere. Um, so Melanie's still upset, saying, he was like, it's always you, it's always been you. And she was like, is the reason because I keep letting you come back? You're making me look like a fool. You're making me look like a fool to America. So she's screaming and hollering, you said you were going to fix it. You haven't fixed it. You keep saying you're going to fix it. You were supposed to, if you were going to fix it, Casa More was the time for you to fix it. You didn't fix it. I said, nope, you didn't fix it. Nope. He broke it even more. He broke it even more. So, she just said she's looking like a fool. Sincere again, he tries to talk about something about you. Oh, when she was talking about her being a fool, and he's like, "You keep saying you look like a fool, but what about when you did what you did with Corbin?" I said, "Really, Sincere? Corbin? We bring up Corbin? What did she do with Corbin? Like she said, what did I do with Corbin? She didn't even kiss him. She kissed him in a challenge. It was a challenge. She kissed him in a challenge. She kissed you and she kissed him. She kissed you. She kissed him. She didn't kiss that man even when she was coupled up with him that one night. She had some kisses with him in the bed. I don't know. I really wish that I like. Let me not say, because like I said, Corbin's growing on me. I really wish that Corbin and Melanie would have tried something. I think if they would have tried something, because I like Melanie. Melanie is my homegirl. I'll be I know what she be going through, but again, this is not the real world. She is not living in the real world right now. So, real world circumstances do not apply to these people at this time because they are not in the real world. But I think if she would have coupled up and if her and Corbin would have really been able to get the shot, I think they could have won above Bryce and Trinity. 'Cause they're cute together. I don't know. They're cute together. Because he even looked kind of shocked by some of the shit this Sincere had going on. So Melanie is still crying and screaming, and then she's just like, she's done. She walks away crying, and that concludes movie night. Part two of movie night is a wrap. I said, whoo, and I'm sure they had to be challenging for them. Again, to sit back and look at yourself on 4K, it's just a different type of thing because, like I said, when you walk through life every day, you don't see yourself, how you move, how you talk to people, how you do things. In your mind, you just going about your day, you just doing how you do. You don't have someone following you with a camera watching your every move and then for you to sit back. So then, say somebody followed you all throughout the day and then came home and popped that in for you to take a look at. And you're like, dang, I talk like that to people? Dang, I make people feel like that? It's different when it plays back to you and you're actually able to look at yourself and be like, that wasn't a good look. So that kind of seems to be what kind of happened with some of these people after they seen themselves in that 4K. Plus, realizing that you just saw yourself in 4K. So just imagine the millions and millions of people that is watching this show just saw you in 4K too. So yeah. Anaya does follow Melanie and she's just like, Melanie's still crying. She's just saying that she feels like a fool. And Anaya's just trying to tell her, like, you don't feel stupid. He should be the one that feels stupid because she was like, I feel stupid. I feel stupid. And then I was just trying to reassure her, like, this is not you. This is not on you. This is on Sincere. Like, you didn't know to the full extent of what was happening. You knew a little bit. You knew that he was exploring. You knew he had shared some kisses. But again, at the end of the day, these people are not actually in a couple together. They're not in a couple. They're not boyfriend, girlfriend. They're exploring. They never sat down and had a conversation about what boundaries they were going to have in their situation, anything like that. So I think that's why Melanie was giving him grace that first time around with Soul. Was like, okay, outside of me, you really haven't explored anyone else. So there's your time to explore. I gotta give you that. So I think that's why she was willing to take him back. But then when you fast forward to Casa Amor, and you just like, we literally just went through the same thing, and you're gonna go over there and do the exact same thing all over again? Because again, you don't have to sell people dreams to explore them. Just talk to them, get to know them. You don't got to be telling them you like them. Yeah, you seem like you cool people. You seem real cool. I'm glad that I'm getting to know you. You talk about I like you. What? Then you telling a girl if you had more time, it would have been her. You did not want that girl, but you wanted her to feel okay in that moment of you not picking her. So again, Melanie does not know all of what's been happening. So that's why Anaya is just trying to let her know, like, girl, you're literally just finding this out today. You just seeing this stuff today. So this is on sincere. This is not on you. And I'm like, that's true. Like, not like Melanie has been in these chats and knows exactly what Sincere is saying to these people. It's not like Soul came and told her, well, he told me this and da 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 da. Even when Anaya sat down with her, she didn't she didn't even spill the beans on we was doing all this kissing, 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 kissing. He told me if he had more time. She didn't tell her all that. So she just found this stuff out. So she's crying. So the the um the boys have gathered, like I said, because now movie night's over. So the boys have gathered with each other. The girls are obviously gathering with each other as well. Um, so while the boys are kind of sitting around talking, Corbin is basically telling Sincere, like, dude, you gonna have to get it together. Like, you don't effed up. This is a lesson learned. You have to get it together. I said, I know that's right, Corbin. Get on him, honey. Sincere out here playing games. Um, Dylan is kind of talking about Kinsey, and he's saying that he just really likes her, but he makes the point that he likes her. She might like Gaul. She might like Corbin. Um, she might like Caleb. She just might like a little bit of everybody. Um, Anaya comes up and she apologizes to KC um, for getting up and yelling over him, standing over him, and all of the things. And she just says, basically that's not her character. She should have never done that. Um, and in her apologizing, he also apologized for standing up too, because unlike, I understand that when people are like, oh, he wasn't feeling heard, which he did state that he wasn't feeling heard, is the reason why he stood up. But we know that standing up, I don't care if you're not feeling being heard. Once you stand up, it's like, okay, so do I need to stand up too? So we gonna stand up and yell back and forth. Because I'm not gonna sit down there and you gonna be yelling at me. So we gonna stand up. So I think they both should have just stayed seated. And even though I understand that he was trying to, but him getting up and yelling, it still did help get his voice across. So the it was still it still didn't do anything. It just made it even worse. So that's why I say both should have stayed seated. He should have stayed seated, and even if he stood up when they said, "Why are you standing? You need to sit down," or whatever, he should have sat down, and then she should have never got up, because things can escalate quickly. Um, um. So yeah. So when she walks away, um, the boys are the boys tell her thank you, like that's mature of you to apologize, and so on and so forth. And who was it that was talking to Casey? I forget who it was that said to Casey, like basically like maybe I think it might have been Bryce. Maybe on their next chat, maybe they can. I think Caleb maybe was saying at first like maybe that can like deaden the situation, um, or that can um, yeah. And then Bryce came in to like be like maybe on y'all's next chat that you guys can like see maybe if y'all can be friends and da da da. Cause I'm like, ooh, honey, everybody's tired of them arguing. Cause I know I'm tired. I'm tired as of you. I don't want to see it no more. I don't want to see it no more. So she goes over to the girls, and so they show the girls talking, and again, every now and then, Parmita she throw a little something at us that makes some sense. She throw a little something at us that makes some sense. So like she was telling Trinity that these boys basically thinking that exploring means and Trinity finished it for her that they can be dogs, and I'm like exactly. Like, because again, you don't have to be out here sucking in, licking in, and humping on everything just because you're exploring. That's not necessarily exploring. You're supposed to be taking the time to get to know somebody to see if that's a better connection with you. Um, so Anaya comes over and she lets them know that she apologized to KC about standing over him and screaming that it was wrong and it was disrespectful. Um, the girls all kind of like talk things out. Everyone kind of has an understanding, like, you know, some of the things that the guys were saying about them was not right. It was disrespectful, and they can understand how the girls might have felt after watching those clips of them of why things have maybe it got heated and stuff. And TT, she lets Anaya know that everything that Casey said wasn't always negative about her. He did say that he had a connection with her, that he did like her, and so on and so forth. Again, I don't necessarily believe that, but whatever. Um, so they all, they hug it out and everybody. Then they start talking to Kenzie. And, well, they. Uh, I can remember this is when they switched to Dylan and Kenzie talking, but I don't. I honestly, I'm really sorry, but I really don't care about Dylan and Kenzie. I just don't care. It's just not. I just don't care. I don't care. So yeah. So anyways, um, but the girls, um, again, are no, sorry. See, you see how you can get out of order. So no, that was not the time. Um, because Kenzie was talking to the girls, so that's a little later when they kind of split up in their couples. The girls are talking to Kenzie, and they're just letting her know like you messed up, you messed up bad. You definitely were misleading Caleb, and Anaya was just like, it's not good, it's not good. I'm like, right, because again, she literally was doing the same exact thing that Cynthia was doing, telling people things that weren't true. Um, Kata and Zach, they go to talk. Of course, she's acting like she's still pissed at him, but we know that won't last long because you know she gets over things on her man fairly quickly. We have Anaya and Carl. They go talk, and he, seems to be very understanding about how things went that night. And he basically just tells her, like, you put your heart out there, and basically, you beat you in the ass. And I said, yep, sure did. Sure did, sure did. But now, maybe you are there to pick her heart up and put it back together Because he just seems like a really respectable man. Like, they literally dropped him in a villa with a bunch of boys because the emotional intelligence that he has to be able to navigate these situations with women's emotions, because obviously we are emotional, and sometimes we need that person to be able to balance us out with us being emotional, because me being emotional and you being emotional, that's just not gonna work. We can't both be emotional because there is some emotional ass men. Casey and TT talk, and he's just letting her know that, he appreciates her, um, for being there for her, and he lets her know that he doesn't like the way that he showed up on that screen, and he just didn't like how he again looked in that 4K. Again, when you see yourself in that 4K, it's a good. You have to take a step back and be like, dang, especially if that's not how you feel that you typically are. Now he did make he did take a later on when he talks to a night, it feels like he said that was him or that is him or something like that, or he might even say that to her. But I was like, so that's typically how you are, but maybe now that you see it how you are, you like, dang, I don't know if I want to necessarily come across like that. So again, that could, because we still have two different Casey's we don't know. We got the Casey that came in the villa, and then we got this Casey that showed up after Acosta. So we still don't necessarily know which one. Will the real Casey please stand up? Please stand up. Please stand up. I mean, just, wave your, if you don't want to stand up, wave your hand. The real one. They're getting ready for bed. Melanie does ask Corbin if she. No, 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 no. Melanie says she's sleeping in soul ties. The guys are talking to Sincere, and they're telling him, like, if she doesn't sleep with you, you should sleep in soul ties and you should let her have the bed. Now, at the end of the day, he did not end up, she didn't sleep with him, and she didn't sleep, and he didn't switch with her. And so I'm wondering if production made it to where, because she was the one making the choice not to sleep with him, that she had to be the one uh, to sleep outside. Because I can't see, I mean, which, I'm like, gosh, that just made him look horrible by him not sleeping outside. But again, maybe it was a production thing. I don't know. Because typically when the person who doesn't want to sleep in the bed, that's the person you typically see sleep outside. So that's why I'm like, maybe because she was the one that was like, she don't want to sleep with him, then it wasn't the option for him to switch with her because he didn't say he wanted to sleep outside. So I don't know. I thought it was so funny the next morning because there ended up being an owl or something in Soul Ties, and Melanie was like, "Yeah, I'm not fucking with it. Y'all don't want to sleep here." So she went and slept downstairs, and so when Anaya gets up, she goes to look for her. Well, of course, she's not in Soul Ties, and so you can literally tell she starts to panic on, like, it's probably like in her head, like, oh my God, did she go home? Did she go home? Did she go home? Because obviously yesterday, after movie night, she was like, I just want to go home. So Anaya was probably thinking, oh my God, she went home. So she's looking around for it. So she finally finds her. And she's like, oh my God, you just don't even know how hard my heart was beating. Yes, because she was looking for Melanie because she did not want her to go home. Um, we have Casey, Corbin, and Caleb. They're kind of sitting around, um, chit chatting. And Casey decides, that he does want to apologize to Anaya. because he felt like he was hella disrespectful. And again, these whole arguments that's been happening for over the last 2 weeks about him not being disrespectful, the people saying he is disrespectful, the people saying he's not disrespectful. He literally said out of his own mouth after watching himself he was disrespectful. So I'm hoping that from this point on, moving forward, the people can put it to rest. Him he himself watched himself in 4K and said, "No, I didn't like that. I didn't like what I saw." Because guess what? He got a mom, he got a sister. He wouldn't be okay with some man on TV talking like that about his mom and his sister. There is always ways to express yourself without being rude and disrespectful to someone else. No one's saying that he couldn't be like he didn't have a connection with her, but in the way you were saying it was like so in disregard of her feelings. If you don't feel like you had a connection with her, and then to be asked, are you happy that she looks like she may be having a connection with somebody else, and you be like, hell no. But you don't even have a connection with her. So you just don't want her to have a connection. You don't want a connection with her, and then you can't even be happy for the fact that she found somebody else over here that she might be able to have a connection with. It was just weird behavior. So I'm glad that he saw it himself and he decided that, yeah, that's not a good look for me and I don't want to be that. And so then we find out that really Caleb and Jaden ain't really doing well. I'm like, we ain't even seen them on our screen. They just kind of been in the background. And now all of a sudden they got problems. I'm like, well, I guess if y'all ain't really having conversations, y'all not doing a whole lot of talking. That's probably why we ain't seen y'all on the screen. Makes sense. So um he's basically just saying it doesn't seem like she's really that much into him. And basically he hasn't even really talked to her, or they just don't seem to be vibing with each other pretty much. But we did see her, I can't remember if it was an episode before or episode before that. It was either one or two episodes before this where she had said that, she needs a more like manly man. Um, so he has qualities that she likes, but she does feel like she needs a more manly man. So I was just like, you know, you're already kind of setting it up that you don't really care for him in that type of way. Um, Kata and Kenzie are talking, and I love it because I love that Kata told Kenzie it's giving sincere. I was like, thank you, Kata. Thank you, Kata. Because again, we out here, we've been saying that for weeks now. Her and Sincere, they running a close race with the same behavior, doing the same things between the two of them. They think and explore means you gotta suck and lick down on people. You gotta falsely tell them things to build them up, thinking that you're making them think that you're into them. Yeah. So I was happy that she just laid it out there for her. So I was happy about that. Um Anaya and Sincere are talking, and she's basically letting him know that, she's disappointed in him. Um, which is understandable. And I think she's disappointed in him on many levels. She's disappointed with him on the level of their friendship. And then she's disappointed with the fact of how he's handled Melanie. And it seems like, again, from her conversation, like everybody was just surprised of how Sincere was really moving. Um, but again, for us, why we sit out here and have so many opinions about it, he was telling the boys, when we just sit in, when I would watch Sincere on my screen, I would see Sincere telling the boys one thing. I would see Sincere telling Soul another thing. I would see Sincere telling Melanie something. He was literally giving three different stories to these people. Well, he was telling, no, four. Because he would tell the boys, He would tell Soul something. He would tell Melanie something, and then he would tell her something in confessionals. So he was literally giving 4 different stories. So that's why everybody was just kind of like surprised of how slimy he was moving. So, you know, I think that at the end of the day, they're just all bamboozled by his charm. He doesn't basically know how he's going to get things back with Melanie, but he definitely wants to try. And while he's talking to Anaya, Bryce is pulling Melanie, and Bryce is talking to Melanie, um, that, and it seems like he's just trying to like reassure her that Sincere does like her. Um, but Melanie's just like, I don't know how he can like me and he wants to treat me this way. And I'm like, that's true. But unfortunately, that's how men move. That's how they be moving. It's just a sad situation because that's how they be out here moving in these streets. You really have women that will give you the world as long as you keep it. It just be like 100 with them. How can you like me? You give them the world, you keep it 100. You're gonna get that in return. Like crap. So you're treating me like crap. I don't know. I hate it. And so, you know, Melanie's just pretty much tired of people just talking about like, I really do think that he likes you. Like it's always gonna be you. Cause she's just like his actions are showing something different. And I'm like, right, that's all she has to go off of his actions. That's it. Words mean nothing. When you see those words that he's literally telling um Soul, that he's really telling Amora, and you're like, dang, we kind of have like similar. You're telling them some of the same things you're telling me, just like the ABC 1 2 3 sign language. You know, that's gonna be another thing that she didn't even see that in movie night. I don't think, but when she get home, she'll see it. While he over there teaching her the ABCs and 1 2 3s over there on the dock, he was already teaching Amora that in the casa. It's like what? Oh, I don't know. Since you're just, I don't know. But as we get to the end of the episode, he tries to say that it's people pleasing, which I do feel like it's some of that. But let's get to Corbin and Parmita. They having a little chitty chat. Parmita and Corbin, they be cracking me up because I just be feeling like, what can I say? Corbin says she's almost perfect like him. So I mean, hey, they're twins. So I mean, they almost have the same brain cells. But again, I don't think Corbin as is so dumb as he acts sometimes. And again, I'm always gonna go to the fact that Hermina is 27 and Corbin's 22. I'm sorry. I just couldn't imagine if I was 27, almost 30 in a few years with a 22-year-old. Oh, I feel like I would be losing brain cells. Excuse me. Just from being there. But whatever. So she's like, so do you think you know me well? And Corbin's, you think you know me? You think you know me pretty well? I mean, and Corbin straight up was like, yeah, no, I don't. I'm like, you don't even know her pretty well, which again, obviously you wouldn't because you just met her. But I'm like, how are we already closed off? I'm like, and this is the one that was like, "Uh, you're acting like you're married. You don't even probably know this man's middle name. You probably know his favorite color. You probably don't even know his mama's name, and you already done talking about y'all closed off, and you had the nerve to be talking about the other women. That's why I said she's kind of like a walking contradiction because some of the things she says, she just. But I guess it's one of those things where it's like, as long as it applies to me, it's all right. But the rest of the people, yeah, no. So he they start to talk about like their family, and Corbin does point out the fact that I think she's asking about like, does he like to be romantic or something like that, and so he says like basically he never had a good example of um being romantic because his dad was not romantic with his mom. He never saw him like buy flowers. I was like, my goodness. But again, I don't know how long his parents have been together. I think they've been together a long time, obviously, because he's 22. I think he's the youngest, and there's a pretty big age gap between him and his siblings, I believe. I believe he said that. But so yeah. So I'm just like, okay. Well, this little chit chat they're having. After that, he gives her a little tap on the behind. I said, baby, he gonna always find a way to fill her up. Um, they're getting ready for the evening. Okay, so this is when Kenzie and Dylan are talking, and I don't care. So I just Dylan and Kenzie could really leave the island because I don't. There's something performative about Dylan that I'm really not liking. I don't know. I'm not really caring for Dylan that much. We have another we have another Casey and Anaya chat. I do find it funny that Casey starts out this conversation and he like gives her literally no eye contact. I think he's like, I gotta look forward because if I look at her, I don't want her to cut me off. I gotta be able to keep my thoughts together, and I can't get thrown off by looking at her. Because I was like, man, this man. I said, baby, he didn't make no eye contact while he was giving his story, while he was giving his apology. But I was glad that Anaya just sat there. She let him talk. She didn't cut him off. Um, and he just basically told her again, like, he apologized. He did not like what he saw. He was disrespectful. I did find it interesting that he said that had he been transparent with her, maybe things wouldn't have went the way that they did. And I'm like, right. And again, it goes back to these people arguing for KC online. That's all the people on the other side were saying is like, they're both at fault in this situation because she, instead of her being like, I'm having to ask this man too many times because obviously, if people keep telling you stuff, something's being said. And so your intuition got, even though it was there, it just didn't fully go ahead and come out and be like, you know what? I need to be done with this situation. But I also feel like, so that's why I said, I just feel like they could have talked and decided because you can do that in Love Island. You don't have to be in love with the person that you're coupled up with. You don't have to hate the person that you're coupled up with. You don't have to love the person that you're coupled up with. You can like the person and just be cool and friends with each other. And then if either one of you finds a connection outside of what you guys have, then the other person knows, like, okay, now it's time for you to find someone. If you don't end up finding someone, then you have to go home. It's okay. But it's not okay to play with people's emotions and make people think that you like them and you don't really like them. It's not okay. So I was so glad that he admitted to that and apologized for that. I was glad she apologized to him because again, they both played a part in what happened in relationship. The fact that he pointed out that he was holding resentment and she didn't even know you were holding resentment. So again, he just needed to be a lot clearer with his communication with her, and this whole situation would have went totally different. She does accept his apology, which I was glad to hear because at first, And they actually hugged this time. I was like, okay, I see you. Y'all gave a little huggy hug. I can appreciate that. So that means we definitely are moving on. Now, and again, I love my girl Melanie. I love Melanie. But I'm about to out of her and Sincere. You know. So Sincere wants to tell Melanie that, he's gonna be vulnerable with her and that, basically since he was little, he was a people pleaser. Which again, I can believe that because I don't think Sincere likes hurting people's feelings. I don't. So even though Sincere gets up and he kisses these people and all of this type of stuff, at the end of the day, just like when he went to go have that conversation with Melanie, he did that whole cheers with with Soul to make her feel secure because he didn't want to let her know that Yama will be going back to Melanie. He just didn't want to let her know that because he didn't want to hurt her feelings. But like Melanie said, okay, I can give you a little bit of that, but it also gives you want to do what you want to do, which it gives that as too. You're just a liar, and you want to do what you want to do as well. That what really made me think that he was a people pleaser is when he told Amora what he told her, because in that moment, recoupling is over. Y'all are just hugging and getting ready to go. Now you're put in an uncomfortable situation where you have to go up to her and give her a hug or say goodbye or whatever. And in that moment, you wanted to make her feel okay. So you told her a lie. Because it don't matter how much time you have with that girl, you weren't picking her. You just weren't. So, Melanie's just like, she just don't believe nothing he's saying, which I don't blame her. Because you don't had a chance to show me. The biggest test for you, because you did major exploring with Soul. It's not like it was a little bit. You were in a couple with Soul. So you got to explore Soul and you picked Melanie. And then you had to go over to Casa More and explore some more. And Melanie just like, I'm not effing with it. I'm not effing with it. So Melanie, like, she just don't really know what to do. And I just feel like, the show is about to end. I just think that she should, of course, stay with, because I think because they had so many Casa More guys come in, that because I think last year we saw like some bombshells come in towards the end. I definitely don't think that's happening this time because we're almost like a week out of the show ending. So there's no one else for Melanie to couple up with. And I don't think Melanie should go home because she does have a connection with Sincere. She actually does. They have a connection with each other. And I'm not even gonna call Melanie necessarily toxic because she was reacting to him pulling Kata in the beginning. And so it was like, okay, so we're gonna do this. Okay, let's do this then. So then when which typically happens when in the real world, when the women get out in the field, the men can't handle what they dish out. So then when we dish it out to them, then it's like, oh wait, 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 wait. So that's what Sincere was doing with Soul. Is because you got so upset because Melanie was so excited to talk to Corbin. Oh, and then when she kissed you and kissed him and kissed you and kissed him in the challenge, but never kissed anybody outside of a challenge outside of just kissing Corey. Oh, well, when she was actually coupled up with Corbin. So I just think that Sincere was like, he didn't want to be embarrassed by Melanie out here doing what she was doing. And so he was like, let me join the party. And then instead of Melanie just still playing out there, she decided she was gonna pull it in some. After this whole thing, she decided she was gonna pull it in. So I just think that she just needs to ride it out for the rest of the show, however much longer they last on the show, and be done with it. All the people saying she needs to leave him, I don't think she should just self eliminate herself. Just finish out the show. Like it is what it is. There's no reason for her to be like, oh, I'm gonna go home. No, just finish out the show. It's almost over. Like you've almost lasted the whole 6 weeks of the show. Just finish it out, and then y'all go from there. So basically, Melanie is just, she doesn't know what to do. But we'll see in the next episode. That's pretty much it. Again, Love Island is coming to an end. I feel like this season has like flown by like so much. It's so crazy because it's like I feel like it just started to be like, dang, it's about to end. But I love Love Island, and it almost reminds me of Big Brother some because I absolutely love Big Brother. Um, but I did not originally start watching it when it first came on. So when I did start watching it, because I love Ariana as well. So when I started watching it when Ariana came on, I had to, of course, go back and watch all the other seasons first. So then when I went to, because I think I had to switch between apps because the other seasons was on Paramount Plus, I believe it was. And so somebody else that I look at on YouTube sometimes, she said that they used to have live feeds. So I was like, dang, I bet that was cool. I bet that was super cool to have live feeds because again, just like with live feeds within Big Brother, you were able to get the whole story and not, I mean, and that's why I do wish that they would go back to, because I'm like, Big Brother still can produce a show and have live feeds at the same time. I'm like, I feel like Love Island could do the exact same, but I don't know. We'll see. But I want to say thank you for listening. Please, 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 please make sure you are subscribing to the channel. You are liking up my video. And please drop down in the comments and let me know any thoughts that you may have. I want to say thank you and have a good night.